Recorder, I launch it again. I think you should see some sort of notification that the call is recorded.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
Ah,
excellent.
good. I'm glad you're going through the process. I like that.
I learned from you and thank you for all this setup and learning. Okay, let's see. So Derek is here. Tonio, welcome. Matterfacture, that would be nice if you can drop your first name in the chat, please. And okay, maybe we can wait another 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe for some people who are late. Christy, what kind of, you have a desktop computer or you have a laptop?
Desktop.
Desktop, cool. Because this will be relevant for desktop, and it's really nice how much AI power we can run on some not so expensive hardware. So that's a little bit what we want to share today. Depending on what you have as hardware, you may be just $300 or $500 away from having AI running locally with Llama 3.2 or other models.
I look forward to you showing me how simple it can be to turn my little country neighborhood into this century.
Yes, it will.
Modern.
That's what we are doing in the small island of Mauritius. But we have people here in the group that are far better versed in hardware. So like Derek and then Bill. Bill hopefully will connect as well. So I'm just waiting to see if some more people come. Then we can kick off.
Mohammed, did you see the new little nano that's come out?
Yes, I'm actually covering it inside in this presentation. Yes, Kim. Matterfacture is Kim. Thank you, Kim. Yes, Kim, I think I checked your website and you have that invoicing system or something like that. If you want anyone who is part of the group, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us what kind of business you have so that we can bring you business and exchange businesses and introduce people. So anyone who is new, who hasn't presented himself or herself, please don't hesitate to take 30 seconds to 1 minute. Christy, you want to start? Honor to you as our new friend today.
Thanks. I thought I could be a fly on the wall. I have a co-working center, a 6,000 square foot co-working center in Gravenhurst, Ontario, which is about 2 hours drive north of Toronto for those who maybe don't know where that is in Canada. We're a small little country area that is becoming rapidly technologically advanced. Sorry. I'm about to leave on holiday and I've had quite a few 18-hour days as I prepare for that. But I learned of the opportunity today of Artilla that I was, it's just blowing my mind, the size of this opportunity. But I'm trying to learn how to implement AI in a simple way in my own environment to book space, which is either rooms, offices, or just memberships. By the hour, by the day, by the week, or to deliver my programs. I have an online school that we're building, as well as 3 different levels of membership packages to help entrepreneurs level up their skills or buy tools to be more productive.
Excellent. Faster. So we have in the program, we have what we call the tech stack analysis or the assessment readiness for AI automation that covers the software analysis of what small, medium companies or big companies have as software. And then we will share with you how we can propose them some, how you say in English, economy, savings, some savings on their monthly subscription, because sometimes we can use an AI, Artilla, a bot, and then make them more cost effective. And then the savings that they do out of that advisory that we give them becomes the opportunity for us as a budget, because they just need to reallocate the budget to our other advisory. So that's good. That's good. And we have Derek. Actually, Derek is in Canada. But Derek, can you just even by chat tell us? Are you in Toronto? I think you told me twice, and I've forgotten. Sorry for that. So we have few people in Canada now. We also have Tariq in Montreal, and I think somebody in Vancouver.
Mohammed, can I just stop you there just quickly? I think
Yes,
she's a bit of an undercover. Have you seen the actual tech in her room? Look behind her.
that's what.
Yeah,
Yes,
she's
yes,
got
yes.
robotics, she's got everything going on. She's carrying on like, I just want to keep things simple. I don't want to. And look all the tech she's got around her.
I know. I found the fantasy background and I thought, wouldn't this be the best workshop? I also mentor my high school robotics team, so this looks more like that workshop, I imagine.
There you go.
Yes, I
There's
suppose
more to the lady that meets the eye. You see
she
that?
didn't tell
Yeah, not
us.
much to do out in the country.
She looks like she's out of the Matrix, with that setup behind.
That was the plan. I'm glad it's working, fellas.
Yes. So Derek is from Manitoba, more central.
Oh, nice. How much snow have you got? I bet I have more this particular time.
Yeah, but it has its own beauty. Okay,
Oh,
let's
yes.
see who has a microphone and would like
Good.
to introduce himself or herself. Cyrus, I see you just came in. Welcome. Cyrus, do you want to say a few words about who you are, what you're doing? Because I think Cyrus is a young man that is coming up with some very interesting AI automation powered solutions. I don't know if you feel ready, Cyrus.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry. You asked, we had a meeting a while ago and you said we like talked for like 4 hours. And he was like, you run on solar power? Because I didn't eat during it. And
Yes,
now I'm
you're
eating during
eating.
my lunch break. So sorry. Yeah. So I'm working on a software company called Just JV. The idea is really simple. So with kind of the landscape there is now, there's a few different, well, I guess where should we start? It's a B2B company. So it helps businesses, right? And basically B2B companies help do a function of a company. So there's three big buckets for companies that you can help do. Ops, operations, delivery, and acquisition. So day-to-day stuff, HR, legal, finance, is operations. Delivery is R&D, customer success, everything related to customer experience. And then there's acquisition. Acquisition is acquiring customers.
Mhm.
And there's a few different ways to acquire customers. There's outreach, ads, and content. Roughly the landscape. Now, ads are getting more expensive and content is getting more competitive because there's just too many players. Outreach is my favorite because it doesn't cost anything at the beginning and it's fast. But the idea for me that I was thinking was, okay, it's better to collaborate than it is to compete, roughly speaking, because it's getting more and more competitive. So the idea is to build a private email list that you control and own to market-proof your company. And the way to do that is to acquire partners, acquire pre-existing list owners, people who have already acquired audiences, and then turn them into partners. And you do that by incentivizing exposure. So commissions or whatever you want to do, but you incentivize exposure and then you have them put you in front of their list and then some of their list joins yours. That's the idea. Basically, I mean, affiliate marketing, but with JV. That's the idea.
Yeah. So
there's
you
a
call
few
it,
things.
yeah, sorry, just to throw some keywords for our teams. I think you said in many of our discussions, PRM, Partner Relationship Management.
Yeah. So there's a few different things going into this. There's one which is an ESP, two is a PRM, and three is RPA.
Can you explain the acronyms, please? Just quickly. It's good for all of us to learn.
ESP is email service provider.
Email
So
service
think like
provider. Yeah.
that sort of thing, the platform for that. PRM is partner relationship management software, similar to a CRM, kind of like a cross between a CRM and a affiliate management system.
Okay.
Roughly speaking, PRM. And then RPA is, well, actually this group here of you lovely people.
Robotic process automation.
Right.
Cool.
To help with that. So that's kind of what I've been working on. But yeah.
Yeah, and I
Sorry,
think
I think a bit long-winded, but
no, that's excellent because that's the three of them together. The emailing system, the RPA automation, and then the partner management system, you're going to offer it as a solution. So if you guys rely on, or anyone wants to build up a network of partners, like a bit more depth than affiliate. So we will be looking forward to involve you, Cyrus. And there will be Artila powering some stuff in the back end. We started with a few things. I think we did Facebook groups and Facebook outreach and things like that.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on to start for the RPA bots, which is just Facebook groups. Because personally, it's my favorite platform. It's what I spend the most time on, and it's pretty lenient with automation regulation. So that's where we're starting. But yeah,
No, but
so
yeah, sorry, I put Mog. Mog, I put your face right in the middle. I don't know how I did that. Sorry, Cyrus. No, Cyrus, thank you very much. I think we will share also as you progress with the team and bring you some feedback.
Sign me up, Cyrus. Sign me up. I'm the black geezer that talks very strangely. Don't forget me, mate. Don't forget me.
What did I miss?
Mog, you missed. So Mog also has a fantastic product under the hood coming up. So Cyrus just told us about his system that he's putting together. It's 3 systems in one: an emailing system, a partner management system like affiliate but more evolved, and Cyrus, I forgot the third one. The RPA. The third branch is the RPA. And bon appetit, Cyrus. You're not on solar power. Mog, you jumped in. Do you want to be next and just quickly introduce what you do and I think you're also working on something that is very nice, and I'd be happy to be a first customer as well. Have you got your coffee, Mog?
Sorry, I was double muted. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll quickly do a introduction. Hey guys, am I audible?
Yes, very good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my name is Mog Obahor. Totally happy to be here. I'm a avid technologist. So I have an RPA background with basically a lot of intelligent automation background. So I've been doing this for a decade. I've led teams of people, in this area. So my passion is really SMBs and really supporting. So we're building out products to really empower small business owners to be able to drive, a lot of operational efficiency at scale. Whether it's using agentic systems, agentic process automation, robotic process automation, IDP, whatever. So at the end of the day, it's just business process engineering. So I'm really excited about leveraging Artila for some of the SaaS products. So more to come. I don't want to get people overly excited.
No, I think you're not far. I like. Can we, Mog, can we just give the title of that solution? How you call it? Heat map something?
Yes. Yeah, so it's basically a local grid. Every business exists in the locality, and there's a free tool that Google has called Google Maps, Google Business Profile. Every business has a Google Business Profile, but how do you get visibility? How do you make sure you're ranking? So being able to have a monitoring and analytics system for your heat map to understand how are customers able to find you, prospective customers. We're building a product to help that, not only monitor but also help drive traffic to it, so you can be able to generate leads and have a healthy business. So more to come on that.
It's a bit like the SEO ranking.
Jump in there, Mark, just quickly. Can I just that interests me because I'm doing some local business stuff. Were you interested in me being a beta tester in particular? Because that's something that interests me straight away.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Whatever deal, whoever my counterpart offered, 10x.
Yes. That's a nice way to proceed. But Eli, if I try to summarize, because we've done some nice things with Artila to power the back end of his SaaS, we are starting. But Mog, would it be correct to say that it's like SEO positioning, but inside Google Maps, so that you know how well you're positioned in different regions around your city?
Yes.
Yeah, that's super cool, and that's not yet available in the market, I think. Not as well polished as the one you have, I think. At least. Cool. Mog, thank you very much. Let's see if we can maybe take another 5 minutes to introduce. Anyone wants to come up? Joey, you want to say a few words? If you want to do also, even just voice, Antonio. And then I think we covered everyone.
Hey everyone, I'm Antonio. My background is a little different. It's in performance consulting, education, and psychology. And as a part of my role, I used to have to help veterans, active duty service members return to deployment or get a job in the community. So as a part of that, I had to figure out what their job duties were to teach them a new way to do their job. So in that, I have a knowledge of, broad industries. So then NASA recruited me to build a digital platform to train their workforce on digital transformation.
Nice.
So through that experience, I learned that a big barrier is that when companies roll out new initiatives and programs, it's one size fits all, but it doesn't meet the employee where they are. So I figured out a framework that is tech agnostic and you can utilize any internal working system, but it's a way for everybody to communicate in the same language on different stages of projects. And I have a more waterfall type approach, and then I have like a quick win approach, and then a middle ground approach that are called discover, space, and flow. So with that, I've been building the infrastructure. So I now have my own DNS. I have a multimedia company that can do 24/7 live casting, Amazon and Roku channels and things like that. And I did get 2 partnerships already, one with IBM to develop an education version to make equality in education more attainable. And I'm working with OVH Cloud to build a business version of the system.
That sounds super cool. Is there any public link that you can share with us and then we can share with the group so that people can reach out to you?
Yes, I'm starting on the website, so I've put one up just to get through the startup application process, but I can send some more information. And I was able to see another call on the BPMN. So I've started integrating that as well, because that would be very good, especially for those industries that rely more on like processes that are critical, agriculture, warehousing, merchandising. So I've already used some of your information, and Artillery is perfect for what I was looking for, because it helps with that barrier to entry to be able to send an exe file. They click it and they can use it. So,
Indeed. And one thing, Tonio, before I forget, you mentioned that you want to assist veterans. And actually, by scrapping, that's what we were starting to do with Christy earlier today. After scrapping a lot of Google Maps results, business listings, like Moxey, I noticed that there is a number of them that identify as veteran-owned. So there may be a good use for you to scrap all the Google Maps in America and find the veteran-owned businesses and then bring them together to your community. If you're interested, we're happy to share with you that template.
Thanks. I currently can't use that right now because I'm actually still employed with the VA.
Okay, no problem.
In a couple of years when I retire, then I'll be able to do that, but that's good to know.
Anytime you need it, you just reach out and we will share that.
Thanks.
Thank you. So let's see. Tonio, where are you located?
I'm in Virginia.
Virginia, is that Virginia State?
Yeah.
What is the big city in Virginia?
Richmond, the capital.
Richmond. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tonio. Happy to have you in the group. And I think we have Kim. Kim, do you want to say a few words? And anyone who I missed, Joey. And William. William just connected.
You there? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, that's Kim, right?
Wonderful. Yeah, it's Kim, yes. Again, there's going to be a lot of overlap from what has been said. A couple of things to note. I'm based in Toronto, North York, so Christie and company. another Canadian. Yeah.
Nice.
And for Tonio, heads up, I'm actually in Norfolk right now at the airport. So I'm heading out, but I'm sure you know where that is. So apart from that, really just working on a lot of things that have been mentioned, customer acquisition, again, automation of client interactions with customers, and then a bit of social media automation. RPA obviously is involved as well. And like everybody else, really just trying to leverage the, not only the tools, but also each other's knowledge and I'd say just ideas to help bolster our own products. So I'm looking forward to, what's ahead.
Thank you. And also, I visited your website and your LinkedIn profile, and I saw that you have sort of a SaaS product with Matterfacture.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you were on my LinkedIn as well,
yeah,
most of my history really is working with enterprise clients and really just trying to leverage what I've learned from that, and then helping small to medium-sized businesses, as has been mentioned by Mog and others.
Super, Kim. Super, Kim. I think we have another node in Toronto with many beautiful people. It's building up.
Yes.
Super. Thank you, Kim. Who else want to jump in, and then we will keep the rest for the presentation on the hardware. William or Joey, any one of you want to jump in?
Happy Friday, everyone.
Hello, William. We just did the video 3 days ago.
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is William, and I got a marketing firm here in Atlanta, Georgia. And in the past 3 years, I've been focusing on AI and then help small business owners to transform from the traditional business to AI, to automate and you leverage AI to boost their productivities and cut down the cost and make sure that it run effectively. So basically, I'm here. I'm glad I'm joining this group and ready to learn on the AI automation. I'm so excited, and
yes,
would love to hear from you guys and learn from you guys. Okay.
Thank you. And William is one of our earliest supporters. So he's been with us, I don't know, 2 years you've been with Artila?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you, William. Okay, Zach is not here. He's traveling, but it would have been nice to have him talk a bit. So who? Okay, Joey, I guess maybe you're okay, or if you want to take 1 minute to say a few words, please come in. If not, we're gonna move forward. Okay, in the meantime, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Okay, thank you guys for the intro. And I always want to re-emphasize that we are a community together, and if we can bring business between us and beyond us, that would be very nice. So the subject of today, and Eli, do you mind telling me if you see my screen, please?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I can see it clearly. Yeah.
Okay, I have an ugly slide. I couldn't find a better way to present it, but what we want to do is we want to show you what we have researched for the last couple of months on the hardware, the best hardware that you can buy to bring AI locally, to host your own local AI models. And this is a regular motherboard, just like even consumer levels, they look a little bit like that. It's always the same components. And I will just highlight the few things that you need to know, even if you're not an IT person. And for those who are very advanced in networking and IT, please bear with us. Maybe there are some small things that you can pick up also in the way. So let's start with the central element here, the processor. And here, when we talk about processor, one important thing that you need to know is, actually I'm going to write it here. The first question is, how many PCIe lanes does this support? And that will become very important when I show you in the next Google Sheet. So there are so many processors, but only few of them have enough PCIe lines to run multiple graphic cards. So when you have the right processor, and the one that I will show you today that I'm using and selecting is the AMD EPIC. It has 128 PCIe lines, which is enough to power 4 graphic cards at full speeds. And this is where the graphic cards are plugged Do you see the cursor? Is the cursor visible enough, Eli, please?
It is. It's clear for me.
Okay, superb. So these blue longitudinal slots, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are called PCIe slots. Some are shorter than others. The shorter are actually lower speed. They are X8 or X4 speed. And the ones that can really power the GPU cards for AI at full speed is the longer ones here, which are X15 speed. And what you need to know when you choose a motherboard is that you need to know how many can run at 15 maximum speed simultaneously. So here we have 7 in this motherboard, but only 4 can run at full speed. So that if you put 4 cards, you will really get the total power out of it. So that is what is important when we deal with the hardware and the GPUs. And then once you have the GPUs plugged in here, they will communicate using 2 ways. They will communicate using the PCIe ports through the motherboard, and that's what we call the PCIe link. So 2 GPUs can communicate through the PCIe, and the speed is 64 gigabytes per second, and it's bidirectional, 32 in each direction. But you can also, in between cards, you can put multiple cards, and you can link the cards between them with something that is called an NVLink. And I'm going to show you what is an NVLink. Let's go back here and stop presenting. And I'm going to move a little bit of my mess to show you here. So this is an NVLink. It's basically a bracket that will connect 2 cards. So 2 cards are like this, and you put it on the 2 cards, and now the 2 GPU cards will communicate at super fast in between themselves. So for example, if I take my camera and I show you here the 3090, I have a 3090 card. If I put a second 3090 beneath it, so you can connect 2 cards, and we can send you some more. This is not a good way of showing it, but this I bought it from Amazon, from eBay USA. I couldn't find it in Asia, so I bought it from there, and now I can link 2 graphic cards together, and they will communicate at much higher speed. So I will share again my screen to resume that. And please stop me as I go when you need more information. So when you plug the cards between them with an NVLink, you double the speed, and they can communicate GPU to GPU. And this is very powerful, especially when you're training an AI, or when you have very large AI models that you want to load, and 1 card alone is not sufficient. You can load balance it between the 2 cards. So this, again, is a very important information to know, because when you will choose the cards, you may want to know if you can plug those 2 cards together, if they have an NVLink. And of course, there is the disk, the hard disk. And when you deal with AI, we suggest that you go for SSD drives that as fast as possible, the Samsung 990 Pro that has almost 7,000 megabytes per second, because you really need to keep the speed up to match the size of the models that you download and so on. So you need to have fast disks. 1 terabyte is enough, 2 terabyte would be better. The RAM is not as much important in the setup for AI, because most of the calculation is done by the GPUs, but it's good to have more RAM slots so that you can buy cheaper RAM and get a total RAM that is reasonable at a good price. I will show you what I have purchased. And for the networking, and here, Derek, I think you're far more advanced than us, but you could do multi-GPU setups and link them through the network. And Olama and other systems, they have load balancing. So you could load balance the load of your users. Let's say you have 100 employees or even 500 employees in a network. You can load balance them between 2 AI servers and use the LAN. And you can minimum, I would advise 1 gigabyte speed minimum for the LAN, preferably 10 gigabyte speed, but you can also go all the way up to 200 gigabyte per second, which is almost the same speed as the communication between the PCIe ports, which means that over the network, you can have multiple AI servers that are not bothered by the latency or the speed of the network if you have the InfiniBand 200 gigabyte setup. That's expensive, but if you have it or you can upgrade to it, then you can really do multi-setup. So this is basically the motherboard and the different points that you need to take into consideration. Guys, any question or any precision you need at this level?
Hang on, just again, this may be obvious, but
Yep.
for this type of information, do we have a repository where this would be available?
Yes. So indeed, what's your first name, please? I don't see the screen anymore.
Oh, it's Kim. Yeah, it's Kim. Yeah.
Kim, thank you, Kim, for the question. Yes, so everything that we show here, we will send you the templates and the files, the PowerPoint, the editable versions for you. So who is part of the AI agency always gets the full documentation in editing examples.
Excellent. And then my other question then would be, I presume you've already, built something like this, but I don't know if that's been recorded in terms of video, like some sort of.
Oh yes, that's a very good point. So let me show you something.
Thank you.
So I did a quick short, and I'm going to show you actually the hardware right now. But this is here. I use 3D printing, and I will show you why I use 3D printing. To make this big. So you see here, I use cooling, and I set it up with 3 A4000 cards. So I get a total of 48 gigabytes of GPU RAM. I have the CPU EPIC with water cooling, RAM and everything, and it has a handle. So the way we designed the program and the hardware study, guys, is that how can you build a server that is very powerful in terms of AI training or even just running AI so that you can carry it, go in a plane with it, land in a customer, run the business for a couple of hours, and then remove the hard disk, give it to them and tell them you have all the full power of fine-tuning your AI model without moving your data out of your company. So we built portable, best price, best power for dollar AI server that you can get. That's what I want to share with you today and how we came to this setup. So we will share the 3D printing files for the adapter. So let me show you here. If you see my camera, let me, if I go back here, I'll show you now live some of the stuff. Is my face big enough? If I put myself...
Yeah, unfortunately so.
Yes, thank you. Can I pin my head? Okay. So I don't want to show my pimples, but this is the adapter for the SP3 sockets. And this is the motherboard that I was showing you. So I'm using this motherboard, and you can see that it's not that big. This is ATX format. I can have it very small, very powerful. This is the AMD EPIC processor. And with this, I am able to, I 3D printed it in carbon nylon. So now I can adapt consumer level water cooling, liquid cooling to cool. And the good thing is that it cools the RAM and it cools the processor and it creates an airflow that helps also cool the whole thing. So this is the EPIC 8D motherboard, and I can run 4 GPUs at full speed here. And this is the cheapest setup that I could find for multi-GPU, and that is still small enough to be portable. So I'll share with you all these references. And then I showed you the interlink, the NVLink to increase the speed. And this is the... So also part of this study is, I was saying, how can you get the best for the cheapest price? And let me show you this processor. And I will show you the Google Sheet on what processor you can buy if you haven't bought. But I bought this for $60 US. This is an EPIC processor. It has far enough power to run all my AI models. And I only spent $60 US. It's a second hand that I bought on AliExpress. So you don't need to spend so much on processor. It's better to save the money on processor and the other things and put it into the GPU cards if you have a limited budget. So this is what I wanted to show you. And now I have so many things on my table and it's getting a bit messy, but let's move and I'll share with you the Google Sheet. Every one of you will have access to the Google Sheet so that you can further modify it. But if there is any question about the setup or anything before I load the Google Sheet, please don't hesitate, guys. I talk a lot and I hope it's not too much unidirectional. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. I think again, I don't know the exact name, but did mention something about building purpose-specific builds.
Okay, so
let's on the task at hand.
So let's stop sharing. Agreed, this specialized approach is a great way to maximize build for purpose. Yes, yes, Kim. So that's the idea, and every one of you can take these studies that we have done to maybe adapt for example, video creation. That will be a whole different setup, so much more power. But there are two things that we want to achieve in this first session. There are two approaches to buying hardware. You can buy hardware to run AI models for your local business or your client, and you don't need so much power. You can do that. I will show you which cards you can use at very cheap price. And then you have the hardware, which is like professional level. If you want to fine-tune your own AI models and sell that as a service. So this is part of our program. We want to show you all the way the spectrum of adding value, from being able to download Llama 3.2 and run it locally, all the way up to training a version of Llama 3 or other models to function specifically for an industry in your location, like a medical RMA, MRI scanning, and they want to analyze their images locally, an accountant that has so many files and then they want to output the PNL. You know, whatever you have as data locally, you can use the server and multi-GPU hardware to go there, or to advise them on buying the hardware to train their AI model. So that's the objective, to cover the full spectrum. Thank you. Thank you for alerting that question. Let's now share again my screen and show you the result of all the research we've been doing. Let's start with the GPU cards. So this Google Sheet, you will receive a copy of it, and I'm going to put it in 90% just to catch everything. No, that's not even enough. 80%. Okay. Is that big enough? You guys can read?
It's clear for me. Is it clear for everybody else?
I think we can have it like this way. So the way we've done this Google Sheet is we have researched all the available NVIDIA cards, which gives us the best results given all the software and tools that are available from NVIDIA. The old ones, but also the new ones. And then you can just go ahead and sort by way of choosing that you want. Let's say you want to go and find the biggest capacity in terms of gigabytes of RAM, then that will be the NVIDIA B200, H100. And what we're trying to give you here, guys, is how to find the sweet spot. What is the sweet spot that gives me the best performance for the dollar? So if you notice here, we have many columns. One of them is the launch price. And we also have a watts per flop, per T-flop, which gives you the efficiency of the card. And then you also have a price per gigabyte. Where is it? Price per gigabyte of RAM here. This here, sorry, if I do format, number, and put it in dollars, this is the price per gigabyte. So yes, you get a lot of capacity, 160 gigabyte of RAM, but you pay a high premium per gigabyte of GPU RAM. So if you look at the sweet spot, it's going to be these two here. These two, we're getting high capacity professional cards. So these are the sweet spot, and I think Bill, he's not with us, but Bill has an L40. And between these two, between the L40 and the RTX A6000, you can see that the L40 has 48 gigabytes of RAM, the same. It has ECC, error correcting code. It has NVLink, but it has something on top of the RTX A6000, which is the MIG support. MIG support allow you to segregate the 48 gigabytes into like physical virtual smaller GPUs to train multiple or do multiple things on a single GPU, like cutting it into small pieces. So that would be the sweet spot if you're looking for maximum RAM capacity. And also the price, it's sub $5,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on where you are around the world. Now, let's say you want to have another approach. For example, Christy, you want to just be able to load Llama 3.2 and exploit and use AI on your local machine. You may want to organize this sheet per price per gigabyte. So you come here and you sort from A to Z, and we have very cheap, the cheapest options are here. So the first one is the NVIDIA Jetson Nano. Eli, this is what you sent me yesterday. Yeah, that's one of them. So these are very cheap, very low electric consumption, only 10 watts, but you will not be able to run AI models on your computer, because this is for embedded applications, like you put it in a camera and you want to have a quick AI analysis for edge applications. But I put it there just in case. Now, you see, the first option that comes in for the buck per gigabyte of RAM is the RTX 3060. And it's so much a nice deal that I bought 16 of them personally. When I went back to France, I just grabbed all the second-hand 3060s that I could find because I could not find them here in Mauritius or in South Africa. So I got them. So this will give you the largest RAM capacity, 12 gigabyte. You can even run computer vision. So you can run models that can help you generate images or analyze images for a very cheap price. So the cars that I got in France, I got them for 130 euros. So that's about $150 per card. $150, Eli. It's nothing. I plug it into my desktop, and I can run Llama 3.2 generative text, but also Llama 3.2 vision to deal with images. So that would be the cheapest option for running. But if you want to go a little bit further up, the next best option is the RTX 4070, a newer generation. You get 12 gigabytes as well. And then you start to have the NVIDIA more powerful Jetson Orin that you could start to put in a network and also have a reasonable amount of gigabyte, but the price goes up a lot. Yeah, but per gigabyte is good. Edwin, welcome.
Yeah, and make sure you give Eli co-host so he doesn't get away from that task.
Hey, Mark, that's a good. How do I do that?
Click on Eli's face.
Mark, he does this on purpose.
No, click on the dot. Yeah.
On the
dots.
the triple dots here.
Ellipsis. Yeah.
Yes, and then here I don't see any option to make him.
No.
Okay, so Eli gets away with it.
Yes, for this time. Thank you, Mark, for helping. So Edwin, maybe just after I finish, it would be nice to introduce yourself and what you do. Edwin is involved in intellectual property patent registration. He's a registered USPTO patent advisor, and he's very much into AI. And as you guys and we are creating AI application, we may be interested in patenting some stuff. So that would be Edwin is the man to go. So we will resume on that. I'll go back into my little sheet here. So
Can I
yes,
just ask something?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm noticing that like each person has their own thing. And
Yeah.
I was wondering if there's like a, I don't know, like a sheet or something where we could just keep track of all of it.
Yes, we are preparing a small directory of every agent, where they are, what they do, and what their specialties and their different websites. But in the meantime, we can email you guys a short summary of everyone so that you can get in touch with one another. Is that okay, Cyrus?
Yeah. Thanks.
Excellent. So Cyrus, if you want to equip your desktop with the chip card, that's the RTX 3060. That's the smallest investment for experimenting beautiful power of AI and automation.
That's what I have running on my machine. I've had that for over 3 years now.
And you're happy with it, Mug?
Yeah,
It's
happy.
amazing because the price the price entry for AI is really not an excuse. You can even use the 3060 with 12 gigabytes to train small models like 2 billion parameters models. You can train them with this card.
Yeah, the GeForce. Yeah, it works really well. 12 gigs.
Yes, I think somebody else wants to enter. No, that's fine. Yes, thank you. So you guys can go through here and identify the best price points that you want to invest in, and then you will know what you get in terms of different powers. Now the summary of here, when you choose your cards, there is an unfair importance in terms of the number of gigabytes of RAM. That's for me and for the team is what makes the biggest difference. Even if it's an older card like the 3060, I'd rather have 12 gigabytes of RAM with an old model like the 3060 than have the recent 4070 here. The 4070 Ti only has 8 gigabytes. I'm much better well off with this one, which is half the price and almost 50% more RAM. So go for the maximum RAM you can afford. That would be number one. And then once you have the RAM, go for the one that has the less power consumption, so the TDP, the power usage in watts. Because these cards, they heat up a lot and they consume a lot of power, and that will impact also the price of your power supply unit. So these are for, let's say, getting the best for the best price. If you're looking for superpower, you can just reorganize the sheet from the RAM or from the Tensor Core, if Tensor Core is your best metric, or CUDA or TFLOPS, depending on your applications. And guys, in the Google Sheet here, I put a small legend on each thing. What does it mean and what it is? So we put the acronyms, but also what it does and why it has its importance. So we centralize all this information for you so that the idea is that you can advise your clients on what is the best deal to run AI locally, or what is the best deal to train your own models if they wish so. Any questions, guys, on the GPU cards? And just
can I just say, you've made it really, really easy for us to actually just break down exactly what's important at the time. And the legend I was going to ask about, obviously that's going to help massively.
Yes, so we want to shorten your time of discovering this information. This information is all from Google search and ChatGPT. But just to give you an idea, these things are very expensive. So the setup that I showed you, the setup that I did with the 3 A4000 cards, I did the whole server with the RAM, with the CPU, with water cooling, and 3 professional graphic cards. I did it for less than $2,000. But a single card can be $50,000. Or if I want a 48 gigabyte card, I'm going to pay at least $8,000 just the card alone. So there are ways that you can use multiple GPUs to get more GPU power for cheaper if you're ready to spend more time assembling these things together. And I think any one of
Williams,
you... Yeah.
Quickly, Williams just asking about the estimated cost for basic setup for running Llama. What are we talking price-wise?
Yes, so let's do that. So let's sort again by price per gigabyte of RAM, from small to bigger. And the first card that gives you 12 gigabyte is your best go. This one, 3060. So the 3060, William, if you have a desktop, most of the desktop, they're big enough to cater for a 3060. And then you just buy it, you plug it into your PCIe port, and that's plenty enough to run Llama 3.2, even Llama 3.2 Vision. You really don't need much more, and Mug confirmed that he's using it for 3 years. And I've been using it also for a couple of years. Now, if you want to go up a little bit, the one that I have in front of me and that I use every day is this one, the RTX 3090. The RTX 3090 has 24 gigabytes of RAM, which is like double the 3060, and it's really a how you call it, a power horse, and it's cheap. I got it for the equivalence of $600. So with $600, I got 24 gigabytes of RAM that I can run. The other good deal I got is the A4000. So the A4000, which is a professional card, so I can run it with error correcting RAM, ECC. So if you want to run AI for scientific calculations, for medical, where a small digit error could mess up everything, or like mechanical engineering, you want to have error correcting code, because both the RAM from the motherboard can make mistakes and the RAM of the GPU can have errors, and that will falsify your AI model output or your AI model training. So if you're in a very sensitive scientific or high-level mathematic environment, you need to go for ECC cards, and the lowest price for ECC cards, entry price, is this RTX A4000. I bought them at €400 per piece, which is $500. $500, I get an RTX A4000, and I can train an AI model for highly sensitive applications. Of course, it's second-hand price, but the new price is about $1,000, $1,200, which is still a very good price. Actually, I bought one second-hand that still has...
Can I just ask?
Yeah, please.
Sorry, can I just ask quickly about the second-hand market? Do you think it's safe to go into the second-hand market? That's a safe way to do
Yes.
things. And if it is, what are we for to make sure that you're getting something that's
So very good question. Few good practices when you buy from the second-hand market. Do not buy cards that were used for Bitcoin mining or crypto mining, because they run them 24 hours a day at full speed, they burn the cards. So those are no-go. If you know that it was used for mining, just give it a pass. Now, if it was used by architects who do 3D designs, you know, and they use only 1 hour of CPU maximum per day, the card will be pristine even after 2 years of use. And sometimes and that's what I did. The 16 cards, the 3060 RTX that I bought them from a French Parisian architecture firm. Every 2 years, they replace their graphic cards for their architects, and they sell those in bulk, the second-hand one. And sometimes they are still under warranty, Eli. So sometimes it's all beneficial. The A6000 that I bought, one of them has still 1 year and 2 months of warranty, and I got it for $500. So if you respect these rules, do not buy from miners, buy from preferably professionals who do video design, architecture, 3D rendering. Those guys, they are very careful with their cards, and it's worth buying from them. And then you can buy from gamers, because gamers, they push the cards, but they stop because when the card heats up, their game is affected, and they stop it before they burn the cards usually. So it's not the best to buy from gamers, but it's much better to buy from a gamer than from a cryptocurrency miner. This would be the priority. And when you buy, ask for the invoice, and preferably buy from those who still have even 1-2 months of warranty. Does it answer your question? So yes, it's safe, Eli. And I think in the UK and in the US, you guys have much more choice. You can go into Facebook Marketplace or something and find some good deals. Now, those of you who are in an enterprise environment and you have all these assets and rules, then you may better go with a new card and new hardware with warranty and support. That's another environment. But for running LLMs, for self-use or for clients, I would say you can go safely with even consumer level cards and secondhand if you buy them carefully. Okay, William, thank you very much. Okay, so you guys can play around with whatever metric you want. They are all scrollable. So if I want the maximum efficiency, I should actually go from A to Z, because I want to save on electricity and save on electric consumption. So you get which cards are the best. And I would say if you guys have $1,000, let me show you the sweet spot for a little bit everything is the only one that has water cooling. Here, liquid cooling. This card, the RTX 4090 Supreme Liquid, comes with the liquid cooling out of the box, so you don't have to assemble and make mistakes. And this provides amazing power with very low consumption, and the temperature, even at full speed, doesn't go over 60 Celsius degrees, which is about 120 Fahrenheit, which means the card is still cool, even when you're using it at 100%. So if you find one in the second-hand market, because of the liquid cooling, you have high chances that this card has not been damaged, because you have to be a brutal savage to burn this card and the water cooling. Like, I think it's impossible unless you put it in an oven. You put your computer in an oven. So this is to go safe. And also this card is good, Eli, to put it as an external GPU and go and plug it through Thunderbolt into an existing computer. So sometimes you can just have an eGPU casing that costs $100. You plug the card and you go somewhere, and then you just plug it to electricity, and you bring AI along with you, or you plug it to your laptop. So there's so much to say, but we don't have much time. But I hope there is enough information for you guys with this all sorting for you to make your choice. And if there are no questions, I'd like to proceed to the processors and then to the motherboard to give you a full picture on how to choose your hardware and set up something that is nice, powerful, and cost efficient. Are we good? No questions? Okay, let's move to the processors. So the processors is where we do the biggest mistakes. And you can see that the list is very short. So why is the list of processors short? Is because we don't want you to buy a processor that will limit your upgrades in the future should you want to add one more graphic card in the same setup. So the main limitation factor with the processors is not the clock speed, is not the cores and the threads. You know, like 1 year ago, 2 years ago, we buy processors according to how much cores they have and stuff. That is now almost irrelevant in the world of AI. It will not give you so much differences because the GPU does all the job. So you have to forget about the old way of selecting CPUs and paying so much money for these. So for example, these were $7,000, $8,000. You don't need those processors anymore. You can have much cheaper and ensure upgrades for you. So the most important is the PCIe lanes. And the PCIe lanes, and I want to do by the biggest capacity to the small capacity. Do not buy a processor that has less than 48 PCIe lanes because it will barely power two GPU cards because you need some PCIe lanes for other things. So you will be already at the limit with 48 PCIe lanes. You could run 2 or 3 GPUs on these processors. But if you buy 44 PCIe lanes, it may be a small difference of $100, but it will kill your opportunity to upgrade your hardware. So that's why I organize these processors in this way. Minimum 48, unless you already bought the processor. So if you do that, you're going to benefit from the processor. And then the best discovery is actually these guys here, the one that I showed you. This processor, the EPIC, is such an amazing piece of technology. It's old, but I got it for $60 US. So this was $600 when they first launched it. I buy it from AliExpress secondhand for $60 plus shipping. This gives me 128 PCIe line support. I can run 128 divided by 16. 128 divided by 16. I can run 8 graphic cards at full speed. That's a lot of capacity for $60. So these are the right processors to buy. EPIC setup is the best way to go. Now, if you already have an Intel setup, then these are not bad. These are the good options as well. There is also the AMD Ryzen Threadripper, but it's horribly expensive. And it doesn't give so much extra power compared to the EPIC. And the EPICs, they also have some higher end ones that are expensive, like the 7702. Or the 75 series here. You can really have 64 cores and 128 threads. That's plenty of power. If let's say you don't want to be limited, you take this CPU and you're so well prepared for AI and you can grow slowly. So that's for processors. Any questions, guys?
Comments. I have the Ryzen, the 3600 6-core.
Which one? Ryzen. It's in the list here. This one.
No, I have the 3600.
Which line is it, please?
It's not on here. You were
how many PCI lanes it has?
PCI lanes, I believe 12.
Yeah, so you're losing because you can't even run one proper GPU at x16 speed. Mog.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's got 6 cores. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to explain is that the cores are almost irrelevant now. Go for the PCIe lanes. So, for example, your 3060, the processor is handicapping your 3060. Technically. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, but it's okay. At least you can run it, but it could be much better if you have an option next time to upgrade. Go for max PCIe lanes. Any questions, guys?
Mohammed, William is asking about the green and the yellow codes. What's the meaning on the Excel
Oh,
sheets?
yes. So what I've done here is that for every metric, the green is the best score. The, I don't know what's that, lighter orange is the second best score, and the more light orange is the third best score, so that you can visually identify who scores best in many aspects. So that's why when you see here, these two, they have a lot of green and a bit of orange. So they score well in many metrics, especially the most important metrics are here, the first column and the second column. So you see with all these processors that are here, you can use them to run up to 8 GPUs at the same time without sacrificing on the speed of every GPU. Every GPU can run at its max speed. So that's why there, you get the green. And the price, so I put the best price will be green, the second best price will be orange, and so on. That's the idea. The same for the GPUs, for you to identify. So the more colorful, the more dark color green, the more it's better in terms of MOG. It's like a heat map. It's a heat map of good deals of performance. So it's like a performance heat map. Let's call it that way. On the processors, anything else, guys? If not, I have one more point about the processors. You can do a setup with dual processors, but then the dual processors are extremely expensive, then the motherboard is expensive and doesn't necessarily give you so much capacity to run many GPUs. So sometimes you do that dual processor, expensive motherboard, and you can only run 2 GPUs. So in the context of AI, that would be a waste. But in the context of classic enterprise servers, it was making sense. And that's what I want to share with you guys, that there is a paradigm shift. Eli, is that proper English? There's a paradigm shift in how you want to choose your hardware for AI automation. Is forget about the cores, the threads, forget about the base clock, the boost clock. Go for PCIe lines first and foremost. That is the number one and almost the only important metric, I think, at this stage. Then the other metrics are all secondary. I think I made the point very clear. So shall we move to the motherboards? Okay, so the motherboards is the same thing. There are so many motherboards in the market, but I only focus on the motherboards that can allow you to run at least 2 GPUs, so that if one day you want to train your own local AI, that you can upgrade and put a second GPU without changing the whole computer. So here is all the models that can run at least 2 cards at the same time at full speed, and the best that I could find, they can run 4 at full speed, like the one I have here. The Epic 8D can allow me to run 4 GPUs at full speed and allow me to run 3 other GPUs at half the speed. So I could have 7 GPUs, but only 4 will run at full speed and 3 at half the speed. So here again, there are many prices, and I'm trying to find for you what is the sweet price performance sweet spot. And I think I need to clean my camera because I did the naughty boy touch it with my fingers. Oh, that's not the problem. I'm blurry. The AI is not doing the job. Okay, let's leave it there. Okay, so here again, guys, you can go and there is the legend for every aspect, and you can go and choose by budget. Let's say you have minimum budget. So what's the minimum I want to choose to go and have a well-serving AI setup in terms of motherboards? Well, you see, you get my card, the one that I have. That's the cheapest you can get. You get the best capacity for the bucks, $500. So I bought it from AliExpress. I think it costed me $750 because of the shipping and so on. But maybe in the US, you don't need to ship it from China. Maybe you can find it locally. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive, 10-20% more expensive, but still we are sub $1,000. So now let's say, and it gives you plenty of it gives you the best capacity to run 4 GPUs at full speed. The only downside is that the networking port only has 1 GB speed. So my networking connection is going to be a bit slow. And if I want to put 2 servers and link them through the network, I'm going to suffer a bit here. So the next best spot is this one, but then you sacrifice on the number of cards. So the next best spot is the sister of this card, which is the Asus ROG 2T, the Epic D8 2T, because this one has 10 GB Ethernet. So now I get for $600, only $100 extra, I get the same max capacity and I get 10 times faster network connectivity. So now that would be the best deal, I think, for those who want to go and invest the minimum amount to get the best out of it. That would be this motherboard. So there is also two other advantages here. If you want to provide a professional environment with error correcting RAM and you want to do scientific large language models, then the good thing with this one is that you can run both. You can run ECC RAM and non-ECC RAM. So let's say you have a consumer computer. You can take the RAM from that consumer computer and run it into this professional RAM motherboard, because it can accept both. Some other motherboards, they only accept ECC, and some motherboards, they only accept non-ECC. So be careful when you choose your setup, and if you plan to serve, let's say, NASA, like Tony, if you work with NASA, if you work with mechanical engineers, if you work with space, mathematics, medicine, DNA calculations, and all these things, you want to go ECC to train those models. So this is more for training, not so much for using the AI model. It's more for training. And then you can go around and see if you have other requirements like connectivity and so on. But those become secondary from my perspective. The last thing that I want to highlight is pay attention to how much RAM you can load on that motherboard. Because this one may seem like a good deal, but I can only put 128 GB of RAM. That can become a bit light the day that I want to train bigger models. But the card that I told you, this ASRock Epic 2T, I can put up to 2 TB of RAM. This is plenty enough. We trained model with Honoré. We trained model with 128 GB of RAM, and we were very good. And if we wanted, we can put 256 GB of RAM or 512 GB of RAM, and we're very good, even with 3-4 GPUs. So the RAM is not so important, but you want to go over 128. You want to be able to go towards the 256, 512, or 1 GB of RAM. And last but not least, depending on your computer casing, you want to choose a form factor that can fit in your computer casing, or a form factor that you can buy a computer casing that is not too expensive. And ATX is the most common format. It's the format I have here, and the format that I showed you for my motherboard. It's the main format that consumers and small workstations have. And that's it for the motherboards. Eli, any question from you that comes to mind? Do you have a desktop, Eli?
Yeah, I've got a desktop, laptop. I've got pretty much them all. One thing I do want to ask is that you've covered the motherboard processors and the GPUs, but what about memory, the actual RAM itself?
So the RAM is covered indirectly. Yeah. So the RAM, because the RAM you can buy it and plug more slots. So when you're using AI, when you're using Llama 3.2 and you want to use it to create content and so on, even if you want to use Llama 3.2 Vision, which does image processing, you can run it with 8 GB of RAM, no problem. Preferably 16 GB of RAM will get you good with Llama 3.2. You don't need more than that. If you have 32, 64, it's very good. You can also run Llama 3.2 on an old i5 Intel CPU. i5, i7, I have an i7 here and an i5 here, and it runs perfectly. I never max it out. So CPU and RAM is not really the big bottleneck. It only becomes a bottleneck, Eli, when you want to train your own AI models. That's where you need to increase the RAM drastically to the hundreds and 200s and preferably even a gigabyte. But the cost of RAM then is expensive. So for me, the sweet spot is at least 128 gigabyte. You can get that for $300. That's what I bought on AliExpress. I invested $300. I got 128 gigabyte, plenty enough to run any model and fine-tune my models. And then I bought another pack of another 128. Now I have 256 for when I want to train a bigger model. And it's ECC RAM. So that's the difference. And as long as you choose the right motherboard and the right processor, then the RAM will follow usually. Yeah, it will guide you. The most important is really the motherboard and the processor.
Because yeah, cool. Because I know with the RAM that has different clock speeds, and the motherboards tend to be quite flexible with the type of RAM you put in it. But obviously, I'm sure it's the maximum amount of clock speed we should use for the motherboard, I take it.
Yes, but then again, the paradigm shift is that it's not as important as it was in the old paradigm where you wanted to have the fastest RAM and so on. If you run DDR3 RAM, it's okay. So I didn't put DDR3, but sometimes we can have DDR3. DDR4 is fine. You don't have to have DDR5 RAM. It's the impact it will have is very minimal, but then you will pay hundreds of dollars extra for not much. Yeah. So it's really Eli, it's really the GPU. The GPU is doing 95% of the job. And then the 5% of the job is not even done. It's just like communicating with the GPU. Is the CPU, the RAM, and the motherboard linking them together. Is almost like just they're supporting the GPU. So it's the other way around. They're just here to support the GPU. The GPU is the horsepower, and it drives everything forward. Voila, I hope it makes more sense. I hope it allows you guys to look at the hardware in a different approach that is more adapted to AI and automation. And William, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mohammed. First of all, say thank you very much for putting the list together. I know that this is time consuming to have this done. And I got two questions. My first question is, all the components that you listed on the spreadsheets, such as GPU, processors, and motherboards. So are they comparable with each other, or have to be like a certain model?
Yes, very good. So William, you see the column H in motherboard?
Yes.
Will tell you the compatibility, the processors that are compatible with these motherboards.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I prepared that for you. And also on the processor side, I have here a socket type, because the socket type will tell you which motherboard you can use. Okay. So you either use the socket type or you use the column H in motherboard with the compatible CPUs, and then you will find the relationship, and you will. So this will guide you to buy the right processor for the right motherboard and the right RAM for the right processor and motherboard to support your GPU. Again, remember, just to support your GPU.
Right. I got you. You. And my second question is, with a budget of $3,000, right? So
$3,000.
Is that a good budget to set up a good system for AI, also the training model as well? Is that
very good question? So this is how I would look at how to use the budget best. I will not look to the motherboards and processors. I go straight. I want to put 80% of my money on the GPU. Okay, William? Meaning that you're ready to put $2,500 in the GPU. Let's start with that. And then you keep $500. Sorry, no. Let's keep $1,000 for the processor and the motherboard, and we dedicate $2,000 for the GPU. That's the best way to go. 2/3 should go to the GPU. Now, $2,000, if it's new price, launch price, let me go here, and let's go, what can I get up? So if I have $2,500, I can get all these cards here. All these cards here, I can buy them because they're under my budget. If you buy them new, if you buy them secondhand, you may get them half the price. So you may be able to buy two. Yeah. So let's look at the cards. Now, $2,500 already locked us in the best deal. The best deal is the A5000. The A5000 has 24 gigabytes of RAM. It has ECC RAM, error correcting RAM, so you can run professional models. It has NVLink, that means that you can plug two RTX A5000 and they will have high-speed communication between them. Fantastic for training models. And maybe you can find it at $1,250 to $1,500 per card. I would put all my money in getting two RTX A5000. That's where I put maximum of my money, because if you have this, you're super professional, William. You actually have a very good budget. So you will have 48 gigabytes of total RAM. You will have very good CUDA. you will have very good heat ratio. You will have quite good tensor cores, T-flops. You're very good with this setup. Now, if you want to save a bit of money, you could go for the A4000 here. The A4000, and you can buy 3 of them. And that will save you about 40% in the cost. Yeah. So that's how I would go and use your budget. And then once I know that, if let's say you can find 2 A5000, let's say you get them for, I don't know, $2,500, the 2 of them secondhand. Then I would go and buy an EPIC processor like mine, $60, maximum $100 secondhand, because I'd rather buy 2 EPIC secondhand than 1 new, because if one breaks, I can put the other one. So I would buy 2 CPUs like mine for $200. So that's $200 for the 2 CPUs, and then I will go and buy maybe $600 this motherboard. So $600 for the motherboard, $200 for the CPU, that's $800, and let's say you get $2,500 for the 2 cards, that's $3,400. And for $3,400, you have a fantastic setup. There is one thing that I didn't put here, is the power supply unit. So the more cards you have, the more the power supply has to be powerful. And there again, that's almost the only hardware, William, that I always buy brand new. The power supply, I buy it brand new with warranty, because I don't trust the second-hand power supply, because if they have a small problem with the electric supply, it will burn all my material, and I don't even realize. So the only one that I buy always new is the PSU, the power supply. And power supply, you can put, it can cost you anything between $200 to $500. You get very good power supplies in the US. Here it's hard to find. And go for the gold power supply, gold level, and get more than get extra 25% of watt power compared to your total hardware. That's the rule.
All right, thank you very much.
Actually, Matt,
Welcome.
that would be handy if you could add that on the sheet at
Yes,
some stage.
I'm going to do it right now before.
Supplies.
Yeah, so here, so
And
actually PSU, yeah. So I'm planning.
And is it still the same?
Sorry?
Is it still the same mantra that you try to pair up the power supply as closely with the amount of wattage that the hardware is going to use? Is that still a good?
Exactly. So you see, the TDP and watts columns will give you the wattage of every big element. The processor also, you have the wattage here. So you can calculate when you select every component, you can add the wattage, and then I will add another estimate wattage for the RAM. The motherboard doesn't take too much, and the fans. So you can just add 300 watt for motherboard, RAM, and fans. That's enough. And then that gives you the total, and then you add another 30%, 20% margin to get the PSU. So what I will try to do also, Eli, is here to create another sheet here that I want to call the configurator, where you can select the GPU, select the hardware, select the motherboard, and then it will tell you the incompatibilities, or which you want. You can select, if you selected this processor, which motherboard you can select, and give you the package together, the total wattage and the PSU. I will try to build that up here to help you guys have a configurator that you can use even for your clients. Depending on their requirements, you can use the configurator to quickly tell them, this is what you need, this is the cost, this is the hardware that you need to put together, and does it fit your budget? So that will be done for the next step.
Yeah, because it'll keep everything stable too at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was already a lot of work just to pull the data and get the right data. But now that we have this, we can work on making it easy for you to. We can even later convert it into a web on artila.com/hardware, some kind of web interface for hardware cost estimation. We can even do that later on. There we are. I think if you follow these basic rules, you will be probably well off for AI automation for not too much money. That's the assumption that I wanted to break. that people think that really to benefit from AI and be able to train your own model, that you will not have enough money. It's actually not really true. You can train your AI models with a 3060. And then only if you have those specific application that requires the error correcting RAM, then you have to invest a little bit more. Cool, so I'm gonna stop the sharing and then come back into the view mode and see if we have other few questions. My camera is badly zooming. Guys, don't be shy. Any question or any advice or whatever. Oh yes, let me tell you something stupid that I did, and please don't do the same. So I was so excited when I got my motherboard, and you can't see it now. So I put the processor like this, and I didn't put the cooler. I didn't put the heatsink because the delivery of the heatsink was delayed from AliExpress, and I thought, I'm so excited, I don't want to wait 2 weeks. So I on it for literally 30 seconds. I saw the screen, everything is fine, and then I burned the motherboard. I didn't burn the motherboard. I burned the connection between the CPU and the motherboard, and now all the RAMs gives error. So please don't do that. Wait and buy a cooler, and then that's why I bought the water cooler for the CPU. But even a very cheap heatsink cooler for the CPU, always buy CPU and cooler at the same time from day one. Never run the CPU without a cooler. It's a beginner mistake, I knew it, but I thought that 30 seconds would be okay, 50 seconds, but it was not okay. So please be careful. I will also add a small tab about the CPU coolers, which one you can use. I will also share the 3D printing files so that you can 3D print and have more choice of coolers, because sometimes you can get very good consumer coolers with this and you can put them on. So I bought a cooler for like $150 water cooling, and with this I can put it on my Epic processor, which was not compatible with that initially. So 3D printing, nice to have as well. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can 3D print online and get it delivered for a couple of dollars. Voila. We are probably now in the 2 hours session, again late, but I think we covered hopefully enough. And Eli, thank you for the feedback. We will add some more data, but I will already share with you guys, all of you, this material, the PowerPoint, the Google Sheet with editing rights, so that you can also enhance it and go further. Someone wants to join. Let's see, who is that? How can I get into someone wants to join? Here, admit all. Edwin. Oh yes, let's give 1 minute to Edwin. Christy, thank you. Thank you for your support. Edwin, you're back. Edwin, you hear us? Mr. Edwin. Edwin, do you hear us in the chat? Okay, doesn't look like
Yes,
he does? No. Okay, then Edwin, we will introduce you another time. William, any question? Mog, Cyrus, anybody in the call? Please don't be shy. We can take another 1 or 2 questions.
William is asking, how much does your setup cost you?
Yes, so like the budget you have, William, I spent $3,000 on this portable AI server. But this $3,000, I can carry it with me. I can go to a bank, sit down in their office, crunch their data, solve their data problem, and then I remove the, let me show you here, it's a bit blur, but you see here, the good thing is that I have an SSD drive here. It's a 1 terabyte. Before I go to an enterprise, I buy a new SSD drive, brand new, still in the packet. When I go to the client, I say, look guys, I am not going to touch your data. This is a brand new hardware, brand new disk. I put it here. We train your model. We train your data. I remove the disk. I give it to you. I go away with my hardware. You have your AI and you have all your stuff in your disk. Zero risk of data evasion. So that's what I do for high sensitive environment, banks, insurance company, law firms. Mainly, those are the clients where I do that.
You know what, Mohammed? That should be done as a matter of course for everyone, because the thing is, the client sees the proof that you're plug and play,
Yeah,
that you're keeping the data safe because you're plugging it out and giving it to them. So that's
exactly.
proof yet again. And they see the proof in the podding rather than from a cloud version where, oh, I use ChatGPT all the time. But because they see a physical machine and you can see the plug and play from the SDD cards.
Exactly.
I think that's the best conversion when you go to a company straight away. I think that's the best selling
Indeed.
technique that you can
Indeed.
do when it comes to even talking about specifically how you solve their problem. Just that wow factor.
That's right. And on top of that, you can tell them that you can run all that AI automation with Artila and the local AI model off the grid. So we haven't sent nothing to the internet and we haven't taken any data out. So it's like completely, how you call it in English? Air gap, airtight,
Isolated.
isolated, Edwin.
Isolated.
So Edwin is doing
vacuum.
some fantastic things at the level of AI automation on top of intellectual property. Edwin, you want to say, you want to take 1 minute to present yourself? I think what you're offering and your experience is very valuable to all of us. Please take a one.
Absolutely, Mohammed. I really enjoyed the presentation. The presentation is awesome.
Superb.
I enjoyed your approach to edge computing and preserving privacy. Just a quick introduction. My name is Edwin De Angel. I have 25 plus years working with the big semiconductor guys, Intel, Qualcomm, Freescale, and so on. And for the last 15 years, I have been doing intellectual property, in some cases for them, and in some cases for smaller companies. And what we are doing is we are doing intellectual property on top of AI. 90% of the patents that inventors come for us, they have an AI component, and we have specialized on patenting high tech. That's basically what we really focus on. And that means about 90% of the patents that come our way right now. So that's something that we enjoy that really goes in. And what we do is we have a group of subject matter experts like Mohammed with PhDs, very seasoned in the industry and very focused on what they do.
Excellent. And Edwin, from our discussion, I want to highlight a point that is very interesting, is that you know, guys, when we develop new solutions and we create new code, and sometimes the beginner mistake is that we put a team of engineers to develop something, and towards the end of the product, we go see an intellectual property specialist and say, okay, what can we patent? But we already put the money and the 1 year development, developing things that are not patentable or sometimes infringing on existing patents. And we lose our innovation potential. And I think what you said, Edwin, is very valuable, is if we could involve at a reasonable price an IP specialist before developing a product, Edwin and his team could guide us. Hey guys, prior research shows that this has been patented, but this part here has not been patented. Maybe you want to put your resources more in there so that when you claim your patent, you will have an acquired market and revenue just with the intellectual property. Is that a correct explanation, Edwin?
That is very key, Mohammed. You really nail it. We see often, I am the one that oftentimes deliver the bad news to entrepreneurs that have put 60, 80, 100K into an MVP, and they come to me 6 weeks before launch, and I go ahead and help them out, and I have to come with the sad news that 80, 85% of the stuff that they did has already been done. And at that point, they have already put the money invested, they don't have time. So you end up with a very marginal patent on something that if they will have known the bad news at the very beginning, it will have not cost them so much money. They will have realized what has been done. And most of the time what people say is, oh, I can do much better than that. And then they take an alternative path that now it has a lot of meat. And now you come with a very robust, firm ground into the market.
Yes, excellent. So we'll be sharing the contacts, guys, if any one of you is interested in that. And also maybe later, Edwin, if you can share with us how you use AI in your own products, the local AI models you told us. So maybe now is a bit late, but it would be very nice to see what kind of use case you have, and maybe that use case can be introduced to other clients and partners.
Absolutely.
Super.
be glad to do.
Yes, so Edwin and Bill and many others like Mog are much more advanced than me and our team in these things. So it's almost like our community is gonna feed itself even better than we're just initiating, guys. We're the pizza delivery boys, and then we bring you together to eat pizza, but then after that maybe we lower the carbs. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Edwin.
Mohammed,
It
what
was
I
nice
would
to have you.
say is
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. Eli, please.
what I would say is that your pizzas aren't very tasty. You'll have to do better.
Yeah. Let me put you on the screen, Eli. Yes. I think your connection is breaking, or my connection is breaking, Eli.
No, did you all hear me?
You said the pizza was tasty, something like that?
No, I definitely didn't say that. I says, as pizza boys, your pizzas are not tasty at all. You're gonna have to do better than that.
Oh, really? I prefer when it was cut off. When the internet cut off. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do Moroccan tagine and Moroccan couscous. How about that?
Yeah, couscous. I think I'll do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. Couscous. All right.
Yeah.
And Moroccan
Mohammed,
tea for everyone.
I'm a couscous guy.
Yeah, I think the as we're even doing this, one of the things that will make us really transfer a lot of confidence, even though the risk is minimalized, you know, of them running stuff internally, right, without being exposed to a cloud, but having sort of like a framework with AI risk management, right, explaining sort of like the process of, you know, whether it's, you know, exploitation of even internally within their organization, right? How do you make sure you put proper risk control around AI, whether you're
Yes.
doing it, you know, locally or you're using your own private cloud environment? I think that's an area that would actually differentiate us, right? Making sure the data is not biased, you know,
Definitely.
disinformation, invasion of privacy, stuff like that, you know, leakage, you know, if they're actually training it on certain data, how do you build a framework around that to make sure you're managing the risks? So a risk management framework
Sure.
for AI, then set it up the proper RACI around that.
No, definitely. And Derek, who is appearing as Sunwest here. Derek, do you want to just say a few words about the discussion we had? I think it's very interesting. If not, I will try to summarize it and hopefully pay respect to the way you put it. Derek, you have how you call it, a microphone? Okay, maybe he's busy. But Derek, mic issues. Okay, so Derek gave very good suggestions, and also he shared with us some very nice resources that we will put together. But he was sharing with us different configurations of Olama OpenWeb UI for first using more GPU than CPU, and also he talked about networking security, which ports you should open in the server, how you secure your network, both for interconnectivity between the users, but also from the outside inside. And definitely, Mog, let's sit down together and let's build like a small how you call it. You know, before you write a thesis, you do a plan with all the points. I forgot how you said the table des matières, the table of content, TOC, table of content, I think. So we could do a table of content, Mog, together of what could be that framework, and then
Okay.
and then all of us we chip in, you know, we put it on a shared doc and then we chip in, and then we will fine tune it and have a professional write it up at the end, and we could build this framework, and then it becomes an asset that we share in the group. Definitely security, and you said privacy and
Yeah, data protection,
data
you
protection.
know, making sure the AI is explainable,
Yeah,
right? Things like that. So
definitely, yeah. And even the way you train the AI against prompt hacking and all these things, so we will have to cover all those things.
exactly, the prompt templates, a little bit more guardrails and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. This is just the beginning. We're like you guys, we're learning. We're just sharing the couple of months that we spent doing research and trial error. So together we will build something that hopefully will be valuable. Eli, the last word, but don't the last you did
I
you
must say,
sorry?
this is where I see where the power is. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
this is where the power is. We are all individually learning, and it's a good thing that we're just putting ourselves out there, putting our hands up, including Mohammed and everybody, and us coming together. This is where the power actually goes forward, because there's a huge amount to take into consideration, as Mark has just brought up, with risk and everything else, the hardware and blah, blah, blah. And it's a huge amount of undertaking. But by coming together as a community with our individual skills and putting everything in a pot, we can go forward safer and faster at the same time. And that's what I like about this. It's not so much the individual information, but it's the community coming together to actually put something together where it would take a huge team, let's be honest,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of regulation coming into AI, and that's a thing in its own right. Do you see what I mean? But by all of us actually working together, I think that's where the significant thing is with what Mohammed and his team has put together. It's not so much putting the product together, which is handy and useful, but to be honest, it's the team and putting our information in the pot so we can all go forward in a safe and as fast a way as possible, while having, to be honest, I'm having fun over it, because I'm thinking, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's quite correct, and so on and so forth. And I must admit, the people, beautiful people here within the community. Mark, you're the man. You could have easily just kept things to yourself. You know, you've got experience galore. You know, and then there's the rest of them. William, you've got your Cyrus. You're very intelligent. You're doing your thing in a certain way. When you're speaking, I'm just thinking, oh yeah, okay, I get that, what you're saying, and you're making me think. And that's the point. The point is that as a community, share. The more we share, the more we get out individually. Put it that way. Don't keep it to yourself. If you keep it to yourself, you just don't go nowhere.
Yes, and we're happy to build upon whatever you guys start and then structure it and put it integrated with Artila. So for us, it helps us to move Artila towards the best use that we can make of it in the industries. And maybe Eli, one thing that is maybe it can be the last word, but I think if we all together keep in mind that we're dealing with a technology that scares a lot of people. It has a huge potential, but it scares a lot of people. So the approach that we are always taking is compliance first. Compliance first, compliance first. And that's why we went into the hardest of AI automation, which is on premises. So all this hardware, network, security implication, if we all master it and we go to a company and we say, compliance-wise, you will have a hard time to find better than us. And we will accompany you, and whatever regulation is regulating you in the medical sector, in the financial sector, in the government sector, military, or whatever, research, R&D, we will make sure that what we will bring to you in terms of intellectual property, hardware, software, and advisory is compliant with your environment. And I think that's where we can have a nice breakthrough AI as a community as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything? Come on, speak up.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to ask
Cyrus.
It's kind of a little bit off topic, but I was still having trouble trying to like conceptually put this together. So there's hardware, then there's software, right? So you have the AI locally, then you've been mentioning having Rotilla power a backend for a SaaS, right?
Yes.
So you put the studio on a VPS.
Yes.
And then you connect it to your local AI.
That's right.
Right. And then you use that to power a front end.
That's right.
See.
Even a back end, yeah.
And the idea is basically you use Rotilla to acquire the data and collect it. You send it to the AI to crunch the numbers and do all the hard work. And then you send it back to the front end, right?
That's right.
Software. So I was wondering what you guys were planning, because we talked about this a little bit, and there seem to be a few different ways of going about doing that. And I was wondering what you guys' ideas were for that, or if you could talk about.
Well, Mog is a crystallization of that idea. Because that's exactly what Mog is doing right now with Artila. He's using Artila for one part of his SaaS system that he could have done otherwise. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mog. You could have developed it from scratch and use the API and pay for them or access them and so on. But using Artila was maybe a shorter access to the data without creating costs So he can run those RTLab bots on his server. He crunches the data, he pushes it back to Google Sheet or a database, and then he shows it to his front customer. And nobody knows that RTLab is actually crunching data behind.
Yeah, you want to really, minimize the TCO. Thinking about SMBs, they have it hard. They're operating on shoestring budgets. So how do you get there fast, very quickly, and doing it responsibly, and transferring a lot of value? I see somebody, decides to get the memo, a black tie. I think I'm gonna wear a white shirt and a black tie. Cyrus,
Yeah.
I'm liking the outfit, man. But
That's the
hat
brand.
is-
Mog, that's the
hat-
brand. But
the hat
Cyrus is not complying. You have to be bold.
Oh,
Shirt.
no, wait, hold on.
Eli is halfway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right, no. I wear these hats because they have my logo on them. So this is just a black version. But it's
Nice.
Just
GY.
it's backwards. It's just JV.
Just JV.
Yeah,
Oh
I like
yeah,
it.
joint venture.
Yeah.
Nice. Branding.
That's nice. It's nice. You guys are looking sharp. I know Eli. They just make us look like
No,
Eli-
come on.
Eli, just
come on.
wait a bit.
Listen, man,
Just
listen.
wait a bit.
Mog, listen up. Cyrus, he doesn't want to take off his hat because really the hair will come off at the same time. He's bald also.
Yeah.
Get him to take off his hat. It'll be bald underneath. Don't worry with him. He may look young, but trust me, he's just the same as us.
Yeah.
man.
Sorry, I had to make a comment on that.
No, you're right. We will do the men and the women in white shirt and a dark blue tie. No,
Awesome.
it was really fun again, guys. Always a pleasure to see beautiful faces, beautiful smiles, and learn a lot. We learn in the process. So if we're good, if we don't have any other questions, are you guys okay? We close the session. Eli, the last words is always an honor to leave them to you.
All I can say is thank you all and thank you for being part of the community. And just remember is that we're all just as important as each other. There's no one better or worse than each other. So we're here to help each other. And with that said, sayonara.
Sayonara. And if we don't talk in between, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Chinese New Year, Orthodox New Year, all the New Years. Enjoy the festivities with
Happy
your beloved
birthdays
ones.
to birthday people.
Yes, and birthday people. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Mog, in advance. 7 days in
Mog,
advance.
how old are you? How old are you?
I'll be 43.
That's the new 23.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Christy.
Less stress, more
Chris-
AI agents.
Yeah, Christy, we don't have a very good gender balance here. So you kind
That's
of
okay. I'm
you're
used
saving
to
the
it.
day.
I'm usually the only woman in the room.
Yeah. Now it was nice to meet you today and to have you
Oh,
today.
thanks for letting me in here. I've learned a little bit. I'm catching on.
Yeah, and slowly you will see it's not that complicated.
No, I've wanted to use some of my old computer equipment to build an AI in my home with my son. Anyway,
That's
I
a
think
nice
it's really
activity.
neat that you have started this whole community. I just learned about it this morning, and you've blown my mind with the opportunity I can see with what you're building.
Excellent. Happy to have you in. Remind us the city you are in Canada?
Yes, I'm in Muskoka, 2 hours drive north of Toronto, in
Muskoka.
cottage country.
Cottage country. Excellent.
Under about 7 feet of snow right now. Just saying.
Oh,
Lucky person.
7
Man.
feet. Is it that the size of a
You
small boy?
might not feel the same way, Eli, if you have been
Oh.
shoveling for as many days as I have.
I know. But the thing is, I love snow when the snow is supposed to be there. I know it's a pain in the ass, but is it not beautiful?
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It never looks more clean and bright than it does right now.
Just have your machine in your garage. It should be cool.
Oh, we've broken our plow. We've rebuilt it and about to launch it again, but it's been down all week. Split it right in half. There was so much ice and snow.
Wow.
Oof.
Metal iron plow broken in half.
Really?
Yes.
My God.
Luckily, I married a heavy diesel mechanic. He's got it under control.
There you go. Some people marry builders. You're a mechanic.
Mohammed, let's host all our servers at Christie's place.
Right?
Yeah, we don't need to invest in the cooling.
I would suggest you wait to visit me until the summer, though.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Super
thank
nice.
you, fellas. I really hope to join you again soon.
Yeah, you're welcome again, and we will send the recording, the material, and maybe next time we will have Jan as well with you, and Zach,
Oh, yes,
and that would be cool to bring them in as well.
that will be. He will love this group for sure.
Excellent. On this note, guys, please enjoy the rest of the day for those who are more west than us. Those who are more east, good morning. Thank you for staying late. And we see you guys on the next one. Thank you again, everyone.